Goodbye, Darwin. It is finally time to pull up stumps after several months in the hot and sweaty capital of Northern Territory. Jumping on a plane and finally heading to Dili. At this point, still not at all sure what will await when I land in Dili, because my COVID vaccine status could well be problematic. But we're taking off nonetheless, with the bike now committed on the boat through Singapore and back to Dili shortly afterwards. Beautiful views as we exit Darwin and leave Australian shores behind. For the last time I'll see Australian shores in many months. And a beautiful sky as we fly across the 400 nautical miles and start to see the first hints of Timor in the distance. There it is. So we fly around to the northern side of Timor to get to Dili. And it was an uneventful flight, landed and just on scheduled time. Still hot and sweaty in Dili as it had been in Darwin. It took a while to orient myself, but there were no vaccine issues. Answered all the immigration forms honestly and walked straight through. I don't think the agents even read the forms. The traffic through Dili was interesting. I'm not sure I'd see a pink bus like that in Melbourne, and I definitely wouldn't see a scooter with 4 people. Yes, that's right, 4 people on one tiny scooter, but it wasn't the most I'd seen. Yes, 5. Mum and Dad and 3 little kids. A couple of times I've seen 5 scooters. Quite intense. Chamorro Bridge welcomes new Dili arrivals with an unusual horn-like insignia at the top, with which I've become quite familiar across Dili. Just 5 minutes drive to the backpacker. This is our bedroom. It's a little bit messy at the moment. Sharing with a couple of other blokes who are engineers working on some local projects. And this is our kitchen area and lounge room. And the garden area that Moko is working on tidying up. Apparently he had to slash and burn what he described as a jungle. Outdoor sitting area, and of course it's all fenced in. So that's where I'm staying, maybe for a couple of weeks. On the first morning, went for a long walk to get the lay of the land. A few of these local markets around. More local fruit and veg markets. It's absolutely essential to watch where you put your feet. If you don't, you'll end up falling down any number of unprotected drains. And from the smell of these, I'm quite sure that would not be a healthy outcome. Walking on through town, discovered what I think is the major roundabout in the place, with a rather strange statue smack in the middle of it. Here it is. And in fact, it's not the only strange statue in the area. There's another one with the world on some kind of almost half helix structure. More drain holes, beware. Walking on, I stumbled across a beach with some abandoned boats just past the main active docks. These beaches could be quite beautiful. There's an abundance of litter everywhere, unfortunately. That spoils it a little bit. But nonetheless, a lovely atmosphere. More litter, abandoned boats. You see quite a bit of livestock around, chickens, dogs, goats, a few cats. A bit of shipping activity in the bay. China's aid program is visually prominent right in the heart of the city with some recreation equipment, which I haven't seen used much, but really does look quite the piece. But the locally built infrastructure still gets a look in. More street markets, they are just about everywhere. Fruit and vegetables, clothing, most of what you'd want to purchase. This one being fruit and veg. Local fishing is also really prominent. Had quite a chat with these gentlemen, although didn't understand much of what each other were saying.
Ini ijuan karon farma ijuan buraka ijuan ameta ijuan atauru jaya ijuan siku. Good. Okay, thank you.
I'm pretty sure they've just explained the names of each of these fish in local Teton. At about this point I decided I'd had enough walking, so I jumped on a bus to take me further out to see the famous Cristo Rei statue that's just about in the background there. So far these beaches, which are outside Dili and on the way to Cristo Rei, are probably some of my favourite places in Dili. Some really quite picturesque little spots along these roads. The Cristo Rei statue is a 27-metre copper structure. There it is, with a commanding view across the city. It's been a hot and stuffy bus ride, and as it comes to a finish, I need a drink. I've taken a bus, a microlet as they're called here, number 12, from down at the beach near the middle of Dili, and I've taken it to the end of the route here underneath the giant statue, which you can see behind me, and had a very timely coconut drink from the side for $1. That's quite good. The climb to the statue is about 300 steps. Along the route is a series of copper reliefs that tell the story of Jesus' death and resurrection. These reliefs come in, I think, 12 different pictures represented along the path that you can see there. A lot of steps to climb. And as you get to the top, the views are really quite stunning. So I'm going to take the walk up from here to there now, and we'll see how that goes. The largest of the reliefs just beneath the statue depicts Jesus' resurrection. One thing I've learned is that it's a little quicker to fly a drone to the top than it is to climb those stairs. But yes, I did make it to the top myself as well. I bought the drone for this road trip and I'm still a bit rusty. This is really the first day here at Cristo Rei that I've been practicing the controls and just getting the hang of it still. But I had a lot of fun trying. So I did quite a bit of practice here just to get the hang of how to make it all hang together. Drone's got obstacle avoidance if you're flying forwards, but all bets are off if you're flying backwards or up. So you just got to make sure that you know where you're going. And this thing is quite small, so when it's flown a reasonable distance away, it's just so easy to lose the visual connection. But here we are, just flying around, exploring where it will stop in front of an obstacle, getting the hang of how it works. On the other side of the Cristo Rei statue is a just delightful beach. When I turned up, it was really rather windy and probably a bit too windy to be using the drone, although the image stabilization takes that effect out on the recording. But just spectacular little beach. Sat under a very blowy tree, having a bit of fun with the drone here too. Back home to the Backpackers, which is just behind Timor Plaza, the largest shopping centre in Dili. And these roads really are quite something. They're crowded, they're full of potholes, often just plain mud. And you've got to just really watch where you're walking or driving, keep your focus about you. To stay alive, pay more attention to your feet than your phone. Local kindly took me on a day trip out to see his shop and his factory. It was the first time I'd been out of Dili at all, and the road wound up through the mountains, really very picturesque. It became village-like quite quickly, and as we neared the top of the hill, had a fantastic view back into Dili, followed shortly afterwards by an amazing view of the other side, the south side of the island, all the way to the south side ocean. So here we are climbing the mountain. You get a bit of a sense of the scenery, and the traffic through all these places is quite mad. People don't respect the lanes, drive completely on the wrong side of the road if it suits them, 2, 3 abreast, just all over the place. Whether or not there is a volume of traffic. The view back into Dili from the top. And the view, you can just see the ocean in the far background from the other side. And after dinner, fruit for dessert. Not sure if I'm going to like this, but we shall see. difficult to even pull apart. Very sweet. Lots of pips. Yeah, not such a fan. And back to Dili street walking. A while later I was joined by a local martial arts group after their training session down at the beach under the shade of a tree with a guitar. Discovered a group of expats does a walk around the outskirts of Dili every Saturday morning, and this particular weekend when I joined, we're up just on the bush fringes, a beautiful climb up the hills and through a couple of different regions of undergrowth. Still trying to get the hang of the drone controls with only limited success. One way or another, this foreigner, or Malay to the locals, has been welcomed by a depth of community and enjoyed a range of engaging experiences. Thank you, Dili.